Live from New Delhi, you're watching DT India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Russia-US talks on Ukraine peace plan yield no breakthrough. Kremlin says no compromise reached on territory. Trump calls Ukraine conflict a mess. Dissent among US lawmakers as military continue to surge assets to the Caribbean. Lawmakers threaten vote on war powers. Trump warns US drug trafficking countries could face attack. Indian Navy will showcase its operational might across all domains as the force begins celebrations in Thiruvananthapuram ahead of the Navy Day. President Draupadi Murmu to grace the occasion. India I series win as they take on South Africa in the second one-day international in Raipur today. Kremlin on Wednesday described the Ukraine peace talks as constructive but said no compromise had been reached on territorial questions. Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov said Russia and the United States did not clinch a compromise over peace in Ukraine and peace is no closer but also no further away. He described the discussions as constructive but acknowledged that differences remain over Ukraine. The comments came after talks between Russian President Vladimir Putin, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner held nearly for 5 hours in Moscow.
The conversation was very useful, constructive and very meaningful. It lasted not for 5 minutes but for 5 hours. Naturally, we discussed with US colleagues the content of those drafts, those documents which the Americans submitted to Moscow some time ago. We went through these documents. We did not discuss any specific formulas, any specific American proposals. We could agree with certain things and the President confirmed this to his interlocutors. We criticized some things and the President did not hide a critical, even negative attitude to a number of proposals.
Just before the meeting, Putin warned Europe that Russia did not want a conflict with European powers but was ready to fight if Europe did want a direct conflict with Moscow.
We are not planning to fight Europe. I've said this 100 times. But if Europe suddenly decides to wage war against us and starts it, we are ready right now. There can be no doubt about that. The question is, if Europe starts a war with us, I believe that very quickly. This is not Ukraine. With Ukraine, we act in a surgical, careful way. You understand, right? It is not war in the full modern sense of the word. If Europe chooses to start a war, the situation can very quickly reach a point where there will be no one left for us to negotiate with.
Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump on Tuesday said the conflict in Ukraine was a mess and is not an easy situation to resolve. Trump has repeatedly said he wants to end the conflict, but his efforts so far, including a summit with Putin in Alaska in August and meetings with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, have not yet brought peace.
As you know, we have a problem with a war that our people are trying to settle now with Russia and Ukraine. We are not involved in the war monetarily anymore. Biden gave away $350 billion like it was candy. That's a massive amount of money. And much of it in cash, a lot of it in equipment. I don't give away anything. We sell the equipment to NATO. The European nations pay us for the equipment, 100% price. And then they bring it to Ukraine or whatever they do with it. But we're trying to get that settled. I've settled 8 wars. This would be the 9th, and our people are over in Russia right now to see if we can get it settled. Not an easy situation, let me tell you. What a mess. It's a war that never would have happened if I were president. Not even a chance. And it didn't happen for 4 years.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy thanked Ireland for its support during a visit to Dublin on Tuesday, telling lawmakers that unity among Ukraine's partners had become a main weapon in conflict. Speaking at the Irish Parliament alongside Lower House Speaker, Zelenskyy said that Kyiv was intensifying diplomatic efforts following meetings in the United States and was closer to peace than ever before, citing what he described as a real chance for progress. On his first official visit to Ireland, Irish Taoiseach Michael Martin pledged further support to Ukraine, including an additional €100 million in funding for non-lethal military assistance and €25 million to aid Ukraine's energy infrastructure.
We have managed to unite the majority of the world, and that unity has become our main weapon in protecting life. And we have kept the world's attention, and that gives us time to resist Russia's attempts to destroy us. We are involving everyone we can in diplomatic efforts, and that is the best path forward. It is a great honor for me to stand here today in a country that understands the price of freedom, understands better than many in Europe, better than many in the world, and that shares our belief that every voice counts, every nation matters.
U.S. lawmakers who have long opposed President Donald Trump's aggressive approach to Venezuela warned on Tuesday that they will introduce a new resolution requiring a congressional vote if the administration launches a strike inside the country. Senators Tim Kaine, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff and Rand Paul said unauthorized military action would be dangerous and unacceptable. A separate House resolution was also filed to block any hostilities without congressional approval. Their concerns grew as U.S. forces conducted over 20 strikes on suspected drug smuggling boats since September, killing more than 80 people. Lawmakers from both parties fear Trump is waging a months-long campaign without approval, especially after reports that second strike ordered on survivors may violate international law. U.S. military activity intensified in the Caribbean on Tuesday with Navy ships and jets seen around Ponce, Puerto Rico. Reuters footage captured the USS Stockdale DDG-106 and USS Mahan DDG-72 docked at Puerto de las Americas, while military aircraft flew over Mercedita International Airport. The increased presence comes as Washington maintains heavy pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. His prospects for a U.S. brokered safe exit have diminished after a brief call last month in which President Donald Trump dismissed most of his conditions, sources said. Trump has since declared Venezuela's entire airspace closed, and Puerto Rico's military facilities are increasingly functioning as a strategic staging point for U.S. operations related to the Venezuelan crisis. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Tuesday that the administration supports its military commanders' decisions in the recent operations targeting boats allegedly linked to Venezuelan drug traffickers. Speaking at a cabinet meeting with President Donald Trump, Hegseth noted that strikes have been temporarily paused because drug smuggling vessels have become harder to locate, but emphasized that operations against traffickers will resume.
We've had a bit of a pause because it's hard to find boats to strike right now, which is the entire point, right? Deterrence has to matter, not arrest and hand over and then do it again, the rinse and repeat approach of previous administrations. This is meant to get after that approach. And I will just end by saying, as President Trump always has our back, we always have the back of our commanders who are making decisions in difficult situations, and we do in this case and all these strikes. They're making judgment calls and ensuring that they defend the American people. They've done the right things. We'll keep doing that, and we have their backs, Mr. President.
Trump warned that any nation involved in sending illegal drugs into the United States could face military action, referring specifically to cocaine shipments from Colombia. The president said that anyone responsible for moving such drugs into the country is subject to attack, underscoring his administration's hardline approach to combating narcotics trafficking.
If they come in through a certain country or any country, or if we think they're building mills for whether it's fentanyl or cocaine. I hear Colombia, the country of Colombia, is making cocaine. They have cocaine manufacturing plants, okay? And then they sell us their cocaine. We appreciate that very much. But yeah, anybody that's doing that and selling it into our country is subject to attack.
Pakistani leader Imran Khan is fine but mentally tortured, says sister, after meeting him in jail as party cadres protest outside. The next report examines what happened through the day in politically volatile Pakistan.
The workers of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party staged protests outside the Islamabad High Court and reached the Adiala jail in Rawalpindi. Amid ongoing protest, Imran Khan's sister was allowed to meet him in Adiala jail. Imran Khan's sister Uzma Khanum said former Pakistan Prime Minister's health is fine, but he is being mentally tortured.
सेहत अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह ठीक है, मगर जिंदगी वो उन्होंने बड़े गुस्से में थे, कहते हैं कि हमें ये मेंटल टॉर्चर कर रहे हैं और सारा दिन कमरे में बंद, थोड़ा सा बाहर जब निकल सकते हैं, कोई किसी से कम्युनिकेशन नहीं.
The family and party members had been denied meetings for several weeks despite an earlier Islamabad High Court order permitting twice weekly visits. Authorities have enforced Section 144 in Islamabad and Rawalpindi as rumours about Imran Khan's health continued to circulate. However, Adiala jail officials have rejected all rumours and said he has not been moved from the prison. Jail authorities called the health-related rumours baseless. The conflict grew last week when the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa chief minister staged a sit-in outside Adiala jail. Imran Khan has been in prison since August 2023. He faces multiple corruption and terrorism cases after his ouster through a no-trust vote in 2022. Bureau Report, DD India.
In Sri Lanka, rescuers were still retrieving bodies from mud after last week's cyclone, the island's worst natural disaster in decades. Cyclone Ditwa lashed the country last week, bringing catastrophic floods and landslides that killed more than 460 people, left hundreds missing and damaged some 30,000 homes. Though the rain has stopped, recovery has just begun. The authorities have given top priority to reopening road access to the region, which is still supplied by air. More than 1 million people have been affected by the disaster, and President Anura Kumara Dissanayake has declared a state of emergency and appealed for international assistance. India continues to undertake search, rescue and relief operations in Sri Lanka under Operation Sagar Bandhu. The National Disaster Response Force teams worked at Sedawata and Nadigama areas near Colombo and rescued over 43 people so far. Further rescue efforts at this site are ongoing. With water levels at 8 to 10 feet and with strong flows, NDRF teams continue to save the most vulnerable and ensure every life is brought to safety. In continuation of ongoing relief efforts, an Indian Air Force C-17 airlifted a para-field hospital with equipment and 73 medical personnel from Agra to Colombo on Tuesday. IAF Mi-17 helicopters transported 8,250 kilograms of essential supplies and evacuated 60 survivors and 5 children, including 3 Australian and 2 German nationals, along with critically ill patients and a pregnant woman. IAF remains steadfast in delivering timely and effective humanitarian assistance and disaster relief support. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Advocate Madhav Khurana has been appointed by the Union Home Ministry as the Special Public Prosecutor for conducting trial and other matters in Delhi car blast case. On the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, we tell you about India's accessibility journey. Stay tuned. watching DD Live. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju said that Lok Sabha will take up a debate on the 150th anniversary of the national song Vande Mataram on Monday and electoral reforms on Tuesday next week. The decision was taken at an all-party meeting and a business advisory committee chaired by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. The discussion on Vande Mataram will be held from Monday noon and the discussion on electoral reform from Tuesday noon. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will initiate the debate on 150 years of Vande Mataram. Minister Rijiju says that 10 hours each have been allotted to both the debates, adding that the duration could be extended if the House deems it fit.
I'm happy that the all-party floor leaders meeting called by Honorable Speaker was very fruitful, and we all agreed that there will be a special discussion on 150th anniversary of national song Vande Mataram on Monday. The discussion will start at 12 noon and the discussion will go on for the full day.
On the day 3 of the session, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will move the Central Excise Amendment Bill 2025 for consideration and passage in the lower house. The bill was tabled in the House on Monday. Apart from the other legislative businesses, many papers will also be laid in both houses of Parliament. Shangumugam Beach in southern India's Thiruvananthapuram is all set to witness the grand celebrations of Indian Navy Day on Wednesday. President Draupadi Murmu will grace the Navy Day celebrations and witness the operational demonstration by the Indian Navy. Demonstrating Indian Navy's operational might, the celebration will feature a striking display of maritime power by warships, naval aircraft and submarine, high-speed maneuver by Hawks, fighter jets, combat free fall and slithering demonstration showcasing synergy of land-sea operations and firings by warships would be the key highlights of the event. The operational demonstration aims to bring forth the indomitable spirit and core strength of Indian Navy as combat-ready, cohesive Atmanirbhar, safeguarding seas for a Vikasit Samriddh Bharat. The demonstration will highlight the maritime excellence of state-of-the-art indigenous platforms, proudly symbolizing Atmanirbhar Bharat. Updates on Delhi blast case now. The Union Home Ministry on Tuesday appointed senior advocate Madhav Khurana as the special public prosecutor for conducting trial and other matters in the case related to the November 10 car blast near the Red Fort. As per the government orders, Khurana has been appointed special public prosecutor for 3 years on behalf of the National Investigation Agency to conduct trial and other legal matters before the NIA Special Court and the Delhi High Court. 7 key accused have been arrested in the Red Fort blast case so far, while 73 witnesses, including those injured in the blast, have been examined by the NIA so far. India's Chief Election Commissioner Gyanesh Kumar is set to take over as the President of the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, International IDEA, on Wednesday in Stockholm, Sweden. Earlier, the Chief Election Commissioner arrived in Sweden, marking the beginning of his official engagements before assuming the chairship of the Council of Member States of International IDEA. Gyanesh Kumar later met with Secretary General of International IDEA, Dr. Kevin Casas Zamora. He briefed the Indian CEC about the agenda for the 34th session of the Council of Member States to be held on Wednesday. Chief Election Commissioner of India also unveiled the Shiva Nataraj plaque at the International IDEA headquarters in Sweden. The plaque was a gift from India at the founding of International IDEA 1995. For the first time in its history of 30 years, the group of 37 democratic countries of the world have invited India to chair the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, International IDEA. The development is seen as a significant global recognition of the Election Commission of India and its workforce for consistently delivering independent, transparent and credible elections. Let's now take a look at other stories making news today. Tiruvannamalai city in Tamil Nadu will celebrate the Kartigai Deepam festival today. Inside the temple, priests are conducting elaborate rituals for the Mahadeepam, the large copper lamp vessel that will later be filled with ghee and cotton wicks and carried to the peak for the traditional lighting. The Deepam is central to the festival, symbolizing the manifestation of Lord Shiv as divine light. A major archaeological excavation is underway at Zehanpora in North Kashmir's Baramulla district. The site, believed to contain Buddhist-era remains from the Kushan period, has yielded nearly 2,000-year-old artifacts, offering fresh insights into Kashmir's Buddhist past. The district's administration says the excavation, expected to continue for the next 2 to 3 years, promises important revelations about the valley's rich heritage. A disaster-ready school safety campaign has been launched across 6 districts of Delhi to strengthen preparedness and response systems in educational institutions. The first phase will cover more than 2,000 schools, where a structured 2-day training and mock drill module has begun. On the first day, on Tuesday, students presented an earthquake safety demonstration using the drop cover hold technique. The 36th Konark Festival and the 15th International Sand Art Festival is underway in Puri, celebrating Odisha's rich legacy of classical dance and sand artistry. Eminent artists from across the country are presenting classical dance forms against the majestic backdrop of UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Sun Temple of Konark. The annual festival is regarded as one of India's finest cultural celebrations, blending devotion, creativity and pride in a truly magical setting. And time now for some sports news. After clinching a thrilling 17-run victory in Ranchi, the KL Rahul-led Indian side now shifts focus to Raipur for second one-day international against South Africa today. With the hosts eyeing a series-clinching win, the Proteas will be determined to bounce back and restore momentum in this 3-match contest.
After pipping South Africa by 17 runs in a thriller in Ranchi during the first ODI, India will look to seal the 3-match ODI series when they take on the Proteas in the second ODI international in Raipur on Wednesday. Led by Virat Kohli's 52nd ODI turn, India posted 349 for 8 after being invited to bat first. Despite finding themselves in a commanding position, the hosts were pushed hard by South Africa's spirited lower order before eventually restricting the visitors to 332. After resting for the first ODI, South Africa regular skipper Temba Bavuma and Keshav Maharaj are expected to return for the crucial second game. The Ranchi fixture also marked the strong return of the famed Rocco duo. While Kohli anchored the innings with a majestic turn, Rohit Sharma contributed a solid 57 runs. The match additionally set a new milestone. The pair have now featured in 392 international matches together, surpassing the long-standing record of Sachin Tendulkar and Rahul Dravid. Babuma feels facing an Indian side with Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma is nothing new, but it does bolster the host.
Look, the inclusion of those two guys, it does bolster their team. Like we said at the start of the series, you get two guys who have a wealth of experience and a wealth of skill, and that can only benefit the team. So I mean, it's not something that we're not aware of. We played against. I mean, I think Rohit played 2007, the T20 World Cup. I was still in school then. So I mean, these guys have been around. So there's nothing new. These are world-class players.
One of India's biggest positives has been the emergence of Harshit Rana. Bowling with lively pace and discipline, Rana claimed 3 wickets in Ranchi, including 2 early strikes that put the Proteas on the back foot.
On the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, India renews its commitment to building an inclusive society, one where every citizen can access opportunities with dignity. Marking the day, the country also reflects on a key milestone in its accessibility journey, the launch of the Accessible India campaign or Sugamya Bharat Abhiyan, initiated exactly a decade ago in 2015. Here's a report, have a look.
Every year, on the 3rd of December, nations across the world observe the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, an important reminder to break barriers, physical, social, and attitudinal. In India, the day carries added meaning. It was on this day in 2015 that the government launched the Accessible India campaign, a nationwide movement to create a universally accessible environment for persons with disabilities. The Accessible India campaign focuses on three key areas: making transportation systems accessible, including railway stations and airports; enhancing digital accessibility by upgrading government websites and online services; strengthening information and communication accessibility so every citizen can access essential services independently. The initiative has also accelerated digital accessibility, ensuring government websites meet global standards so that information is available to everyone without barriers. Training programs and sensitization workshops have further strengthened the ecosystem of support. As India marks nearly a decade of Sugamya Bharat Abhiyan or the Accessible India campaign, the message is very clear. Accessibility is not charity, but a right. And an inclusive nation is one that leaves no one behind. From ramps to rights, India's accessibility journey continues with renewed resolve. On International Day of Persons with Disabilities, the commitment to an inclusive tomorrow stands stronger than ever. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
That's it in this edition of DD India Live. News and updates will continue on DD India. You stay tuned.